This makes pitchers fear you to the point where they won't even pitch to you. And if you do this, you could be the best in the game. So what do all these players have in common? They're all power hitters. And today, I'm going to show you how to hit for power in baseball.
Hi, I'm former Major League Baseball player Jermaine Curtis.
And this is me in 2015. No power, hitting with the wet newspaper type hitter. And this is me in 2016, hitting bombs. As you can see, there was a huge change. So today I share with you how I did it.
And now let's get started. But first, I've created a free cheat sheet for you to help you if you're struggling to be a consistent hitter or you're lacking in power. If this sounds like you, the link will be in the description below. And this cheat sheet also comes with video training so you can see what you need to do to improve.
And when you sign up for free today, you'll get access to more free goodies that will help you to improve your performance, but also get early VIP access to have your questions answered by MLB players.
If this is something you're interested in, link will be in the description below. And with that said, back to the video. Now, you notice that I'm outside of the field instead of being on the field. And there's a reason for that, because the first place it starts when it comes to hitting for power is the mental game. And I wanted to talk about this first because most people never talk about these things in baseball, but these are the driving factors to making someone successful. So the issue I had was I didn't believe that I could be a power hitter, because my entire life everyone said you were a consistent hitter, you can hit for a high average, you hammer the ball, you hammer line drives, but no one ever said you were a power hitter. So I had to change that belief within myself, and I did 3 things that allowed me to change that belief within myself. And the first one was actually visualizing. I put up pictures of home run hitters in my place, guys that are hitting 20 home runs, 30 home runs a year. But here's the thing, I put my face on top of their face. I also put up 20 home runs, 30 home runs, 20 doubles, 30 doubles inside of my house as well. I put this up everywhere where I could see it, and everywhere I went in the house, I see myself as being that power hitter. Now that was the first step. And the next thing I did is I started visualizing myself for 5 minutes a day hitting home runs, hitting it over the fence, driving doubles. I started to literally take the time daily to actually see myself hit doubles and hit homers. That right there started to fuel my belief within myself that I could do it. Now the next thing I did is I said affirmations to myself, because we always hear ourselves tell ourselves negative things or even positive things, but it's a different vibe when you say it to yourself. When you hear yourself tell yourself you're good, that changes your emotions. And what it also does, it combats those negative thoughts that pop into your head. As a baseball player, they say majority of the game's mental. It is. When you're on the field and you're grinding, those thoughts pop in your head of like, oh, I can't hit for power, I can't be consistent, whatever it is, it starts popping in your head. So when you have these affirmations, it combats those feelings, because what you're doing is you're saying it out loud and you're changing your emotions. That is something that I said to myself and I truly believe, because it really helped me to change those emotions that were negative in my thoughts about myself. Now the last thing I did, which was similar to saying affirmations, was my positive self-talk. I really dialed in on the things I was saying to myself. And I know it's similar to affirmations, but I wanted to also say this because it's something that a lot of you guys need to hear. Saying positive things to yourself will help you in so many ways as an athlete. It's literally a cheat code. So when you're on the field, when you're playing defense, say positive stuff to yourself, like, I can crush this pitcher, I'm about to hammer this guy. Say things like that about yourself, and say it with emotion, say it with passion. If you just say I am good, that doesn't do anything. But you say, man, I'm about to hammer this guy, and you say it with emotion, it changes your mannerisms, it changes who you are, and that starts to reflect in the game. See, baseball players at the highest level are tricking themselves. All those guys, they feel the same things you do as a player. They feel insecure, they feel fear, they feel doubt, they fear everything. They just manage to get through it, and positive self-talk is one of those ways to get past it. With that said, if you do all 3 of those things, it will definitely help you into changing those beliefs and start to prepare you for it. And if you do those things, we can go into the next thing. Now, let's be honest. If you get stronger, you're going to be able to hit the ball harder and farther. By working out in the gym is going to allow you to increase your power. And that's something that I never thought about when I was younger. I know it's super obvious, but when I was younger, I just would go to the cage and just hit all day. That was the type of player that I would just be in the cage hitting all day. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit for power if I just keep hitting. It helped me to be a better hitter, but it didn't allow me to increase my power until I started weightlifting. And once I started weightlifting and I started gaining weight and I started pushing weight, that's what allowed me to start driving balls harder. My exit velo went up. I started hitting line drives that would normally be doubles turned into home runs. And then I felt like my miss hits, even the ones that were hitting ground balls, they were getting through instead of being ground outs before. So everything increased just by starting to work out and pushing those weights and bettering myself, not just mentally, but bettering myself physically as well. I literally went from looking like this to looking like this. Nah, I'm just joking. But what I really worked on were 3 things. Now, the first thing I worked on was my core. I did things such as planks, knees to chest. Yeah, I just hammered out my core because I believe strong core equals encore. I know that sounds corny, but I believe it helps you a lot as a baseball player. That was the first thing I did. The next thing I did is I worked on my lower half, getting my lower half stronger. That means my glutes, my hamstrings, my quad, doing a lot of front squats, back squats, doing deadlift. I did things like that to help me to increase my lower half so that I could perform for the 142 games or the 162 games and I could get the most out of myself physically. The next thing I did was I worked on my back. Those are 3 things I worked on. If you work on those things, it's definitely going to help you to increase your power. But the next thing is really important. So with that being said, let's talk about the next thing, which is eating. Now, if you're going to weight train, you need to complement that by eating healthy. And I know you've heard it a million times, but I'm going to also say it to you because it's very, very important to you playing at a high level. Because here's the thing, if you eat healthier, you're going to be more clear. You're not going to have that foggy mind. You're not going to feel drowsy. You're eating healthier, which is going to allow you to make better decisions at the plate. You're able to react better. You're able to make better decisions, and better decisions equal better results. So it's definitely a very big benefit if you start eating healthy. And things that I eat were chicken breasts, sweet potatoes, broccoli, or I'll eat ground turkey, brown rice, and asparagus, or I'll eat egg whites, turkey bacon, or fruit. These things right there are really lean, and it helped me to have that clear mind so I could go out there and perform and start hitting more extra base hits. And something I really, really highly recommend you do, because I wish I would have known this soon. I didn't do this until I was playing professionally. And it's funny because when I was at UCLA, we had our end of the year meeting. And in this meeting, they were saying to me, Jermaine, in the 7th inning and later, you're not performing like you normally do. Like, what's going on? And sitting there, we're all just like throwing stuff against the wall. We're just like trying to figure out what's going on. What's the solution? How can we fix this? And it wasn't until I started eating healthy that I realized what was going on. See, when I was at UCLA, I was eating Big Macs before the games. I would literally eat a Big Mac, and then in the 7th inning, I was crashing, and I didn't know what was going on during that time. It's funny now, but it's like, man, I could have been even better if I would have been eating better, if I would have learned this sooner. So for all you players out there, start learning how to cut chicken breasts, learn how to make sweet potatoes, learn how to make ground turkey. Start eating this. It's going to translate over into the field. You're going to start making better decisions at the plate, which is going to allow you to start hitting more doubles, homers, extra base hits, and all your numbers are going to go up. And plus, it's going to complement what we just talked about earlier, which is strength training. So if you do that, it's going to definitely help you to increase power. But the next thing is very important to helping you to hit for power, and that is a hitting approach. The next thing I did was I focused on a hitting approach. And if you don't know what a hitting approach is, a hitting approach is a plan before stepping in the batter's box. It's like a guide. And I understand that when you get into the batter's box, you know, things change and you might have to make adjustments, but it's a guide before you step in. It's a plan before you step in, which allows you to feel like you're in control of the at-bat. And good hitters are in control of the entire bat. If you look at guys like Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, even though they are reacting to the pitcher, they are in control, and that's where you want to be. And by having a hitting approach, it allows you to do that. There are three things that I focused on. The first one being more aggressive. I was the type of player, when I came in, I felt like I needed to see just one pitch. So I'll get in here and he would throw that fastball right there and I'll just take it. And now I felt like I got my timing and I could hit. But when you're 0-1, there's a big difference in how you swing the bat when you're down in the count as far as being up in the count. So I started to be more aggressive on the pitches that I wanted to hit. And which brings me to the next thing. I started looking for pitches that were up in the zone. Now you're asking yourself right now, what made you think of hitting a pitch up in the zone? Well, I started to track everything, which is also a thing that I highly recommend you do, is to track all your at-bats, the pitches you see, where they're throwing it, what location. Start to track all your data so you have an understanding of what type of player you are. See, the players at the highest level, they know who they are as hitters. They know what pitches they are good at. They know what pitches they're not good at. So they stay away from the pitches that they're not good at and they focus on the pitches that they are. And then there's just times where you just got to battle, and that's how you keep maintaining yourself so that when you do get to feeling great, then you can hammer those pitches that are in your wheelhouse. By tracking yourself, it allows you to really know who you are, and it's something I really highly recommend. And that was the reason why I looked for pitches up in the zone, because pitches up in the zone was my wheelhouse. When I would practice, I would focus on pitches up in the zone. I didn't focus on pitches down the zone because that didn't work with my swing. And it was better for me to hit a ball in the air that was up in the zone. So that's what I really focused on, and that was my hitting approach. So when the count was 0-0, when the count was 2-0, when the count was 3-1, when I was in hitters counts, I was looking for a fastball up in the zone, because that was the best way for me to drive the ball in the air and get it into the gaps and then start hitting more home runs. So that is what I would highly recommend you do, is you start creating a plan before stepping in the batter's box. And I know there are times where you have to abort. You're not seeing the pitcher well. The pitcher is nasty. You know, there are times where you have to abort your hitting plan. But those times when you don't, that's when you go all in on your hitting approach. You go in on your data. I have a book called The Hitter's Log, which I don't give away now. I only give it to people who are in my hitting course, and I help them to create a hitting approach that will allow them to start hitting for more extra base hits and being more consistent as a player. And I walk them through. It's a 6-week course. This is really transforming players, and if you work on these things, it's really going to help you. But the next thing was by far the best thing when it comes to hitting for power, and that is working on my mechanics. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual swing. There are a few things I made as far as adjustments to my swing that allowed me to start hitting more doubles and start hitting more home runs. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And specifically, there are 3 things that I worked on. The first one was I widened out a little bit more. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why would you be widening out? Because when I was hitting, what I would do is I would start drifting forward when I was standing straight tall. So I would drift forward, and this changed my swing. It started to get me a little bit more choppy, and it would allow me to just hit low liners over the middle infielders. I wasn't able to stay on my backside so I can get a little bit more elevation up through the ball. So that was really a big, significant change in my swing. Now, the second thing I did was I started to bend my torso over. Before, since I was standing straight up, my body was here and I was just more east to west. Really, what you want to do is be more, your shoulders want to work this way instead of working this way. So I really focused on widening out and then bending my torso over a bit. And when I would swing, I would be more in this angle without dropping my back shoulder. I was just being more on this angle instead of where I was standing straight tall. just swinging like this. Now, I do think that you can still hit for power if you're standing straight tall. If you have the bat speed, it doesn't matter. Ball's gonna fly. But for me, I didn't have that bat speed, so I had to make adjustments to allow myself to get the ball in the air. Now, the next thing I did is I worked on my point of contact. Throughout my life, everyone told me to hit the ball to right field. And so I really got good at that, hitting line drives to the right side. But when you're trying to hit the ball to the opposite field, you're letting the ball get deeper, so you're hitting it here, right? And you can drive balls out of the ballpark by hitting it deep, but I didn't have the power to drive the ball over the right field fence. I didn't have that bat speed. So I had to figure out ways to get the ball in the air to my pull side. And if you think about most guys that are driving the baseball in the big leagues who aren't big, guys like Mookie Betts, these guys are getting the ball in the air to their pull side. And so I needed to figure out a way to get the ball in the air to my pull side. And I remember having this conversation with Eric Davis, Barry Larkin. I had this conversation with them, and they're like, you need to aim for 330 down the left field line. You need to figure out how to do that. And they started giving me drills, and they started to talk to me about it. And it really came down to my point of contact. So I really started focusing on getting the ball a little bit more out front. So out here instead of being deep back here. Now this is good. This allows you to be a consistent hitter. You got a little bit more time to make good decisions. Like, oh, nope, that's a ball. Or yes, let me hit that. Take your single to the opposite side. Get your RBIs. But to hit for more doubles and homers when you might not have enough bat speed, you got to get that point of contact out front. And so that allowed me to do that. So that's what I really worked on. And I know I said I had 3 things, but I actually had a 4th thing. I started working on my top hand getting through the ball more. Before, what I would do is I would swing, I would let go, and so I became real slappy. I didn't drive the ball. And if you think about most power hitters, they're getting to it with their top hand, throwing that barrel, and then extending through it, pushing through it with their top hand. So I really focused on my top hand getting through the baseball, giving that added push through the ball, and I really started making the balls fly out of the yard. It really took me to the next level. And if you're gonna play at the highest levels, you really have to evolve as a hitter, as a baseball player. You might be a singles hitter now, but you can change yourself. And if you do all the things that I just shared with you today, it's going to allow you to hit for more power. And now with that being said, now if you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed this video right here, which teaches you how to hit fast pitching in baseball. You'll be able to 70% more effectively hit fast pitching if you watch this video. So with that being said, go and watch that video. It's going to teach you how to hit fast pitching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.